If I am not wrong, the noun nation is derived from the Latin expression nasca, related to birth. Even though my knowledge of Latin is very unsound, very lacking. In other words, none of us would be here, let alone a nation, if births did not take place. And if we died at our births, we would not be here today. I just heard on the news that a mother died just giving birth to her baby in consequence of the devastating earthquake which took place in Turkey yesterday, followed by its aftermath. Yes, the situation is not merely disastrous, not merely calamitous, but absolutely devastating. Thousands of houses fell, more than 5,000 men, women, children, babies were killed in Turkey and its neighboring state, Syria. Yet people are still unsure about allowing the aid workers to pass through their territory, whether this be official or unofficial, legitimized or illegitimized. They're hindering aid workers to reach the sites devastated by the earthquakes. Is that what we can expect of leaders who venture to allege that they love their people? I think not. 5,000 people were killed in a single day by this natural catastrophe taking place, and perhaps due to the negligence on the part of the builders of those buildings, which collapsed in a fraction of moments. And still the leaders of those places are not permitting various aid workers to enter their territory, their country, disregarding the desperate need of their own people. I fail to understand, are we truly human beings if we forget the needs of our fellow human beings? Do we have any legitimate right to such a claim? This is a moment not of national pride, not to consider where there is any enmity of the victimized nations with other nations, the victimized communities with other communities. This is a moment to consider, to enhance, to follow the path of humanity. All of us can do something, whether we be near or far, in aiding the victims still alive, perhaps even under the rubbles, under the broken parts of those buildings, who are still buried alive. let us put our enmities aside, at least for the time being, and come to the aid of the victims, for whom every single moment is not merely essential, but every single moment is absolutely indispensable, as such a moment can make a difference between life and death. I call upon the nations of the world, with all due respect and all due humility on my part, not merely to send aid workers, but also to communicate with the leaders of the victimized nations in order to persuade them to allow the aid workers to aid properly at this very moment, when so many human lives have not merely perished, but the remaining ones are still in obvious danger of perishing. This is my most humble plea. Of this evening, of my country, or in my country, on this, the 7th of February of the Gregorian year 2023. I bid the aid workers, but also those who are victimized yet still alive, the protection of the same Creator who created all of us. And beg most humbly the leaders of the world to put aside their enmities and to come forward and to cooperate. Not for the sake of any nation, but for the sake of humanity. I thank you in anticipation for your kind understanding and the absolutely desperately needful response, while I remain at your service.